with Khutso.
We're talking all things drug addiction today. Now, drug addiction is hard to handle when it's your life you're trying to save. But your siblings, possibly a partner, possibly a colleague, it's a different story, right? And the fallout from an addiction for, addicts and the people who love them is devastating. The manipulations, the guilt, the destructions of relationships and the breakouts of people. And when the addicts know they are loved by someone who is invested in them, they immediately have fuel for their addiction. Now, we received a voice note coming through from Anonymous. I'll still continue to keep her anonymous. I know that she is listening to the show right now, but this is for her. And to you sending me tweets right now, read a tweet also coming through. But there's no guarantee or greater pain at that than watching someone you love their drugs more than they love you, right? Now, I'm going to play this voice note, but before that, let me read a tweet coming through here from Loisy. He says, one of my uncles has a problem. He does hard drugs, the expensive kind, but he's unemployed. I don't know how he gets them. He's terrorized his entire family, and they've done everything they can for him. I tried too and failed. He's too far gone. Take a listen to this.
Good morning, Khutso, and good morning, Crunchers. Khutso, if possible, I'd like to remain anonymous, but if you've already said my name before you listened to this voice note, then please stop the voice note right now and listen to it. Continue listening to it alone. So, okay, I'm just trying to catch my breath with all the tears rolling down my face. So, Khutso, I'm not okay today, hey. So today was supposed to be the day that my partner is admitted to rehab because she's been struggling with narcotic addiction. I chose not to give up on her and to support her. But she told me just a few days ago that she's not going there. So I'm sad because now we have to break up. I'm not willing to stay with someone who is not willing to fix their problem using an effective method, I was running up and down trying to get her admitted throughout all these COVIDs when a lot of people are being rejected. She stood a chance. Can we one day, Khutso, talk about narcotic addiction and how it affects relationships, and reach out to those people that don't know how to get the help.
That's exactly what we are going to do. I will say this again, and you know that you and I have had our personal conversation. Thank you for taking my call. So again, she is listening to the show right now, Anonymous. And with that being said, before you pass judgment on one who is self-destructing, right? It's important to remember they usually aren't trying to destroy themselves. They're trying to destroy something inside that doesn't belong. And Anonymous, being a drug addict isn't nearly as bad as being sober and loving a drug addict. And that's to you. I'm seeing a voice note also coming through from another Anonymous, and I know you personally sending through a voice note. Listen, if a friend, a loved one, or a colleague becomes ill, you know for a fact that you wouldn't hesitate to offer your help, right? And support them. But what if that same person showed signs of drinking problems or drug abuse? Would you step in as quickly to offer help? Would you know what to do or say? That's why we're having this conversation, right? Anonymous sending through her voice note, and many of you coming through as well this morning. I'll keep you anonymous as well. Take a listen. Good morning.
I'm Shani Mane. I'm Shani Crunches and the rest of the team.
I would like to remain anonymous. I overheard the Y Mornings team briefing us that one of today's topics on Crunch is about addiction. And I thought I should send a voice note, because this topic is very sensitive.
Absolutely.
If I can put it that way. Because my brother is an addict. He started using drugs after my grandmother passed on, which was 2014. Basically, skhuliswe kokwamvele. And then 2014 washona. That's when my brother became an addict. And it's tough, because he just turned into someone that I do not know, and what hurts me the most is the fact that he has kids now, a boy and a girl. The youngest is a girl, and it pains me, because I never imagined him as an addict whatsoever. He's been to rehab, but he relapsed again, So what I'm saying is that having an addict within your circle or within your family is not easy, If I had magic, I was going to drain all those drugs out of him, and Kimi the person that he was before he started choosing. But I do not have that power. However, I'd like to say to the crunchers, please do not judge people who use drugs, but at the same time, do not be easy on them, because they see this as their escape from reality, and it's just tough. It's tough, guys. If I'm in.
Anonymous, thank you very much. I mean, coming through with Anonymous's first voice note, starting off our conversation, and then to you, plucking out the courage to be able to speak your honesty and your truth. Condolences to your grandmother back in 2014, and now having this conversation. What I appreciate about you, Anonymous, is giving us the advice at the end. This is why we're having this conversation, to understand what we can do. Now, on the line, we've got Taku coming through, head of treatment at Crossroads Recovery Center. I've had great engagements with Taku. I really admire the work that he does and the information that he does and the help that he gives. Now, yesterday he was telling me that, Khutso, let's talk. Let's talk hope. Let's talk real. And that's exactly what I want to do. Taku, good morning.
Hey, Khutso, what's up?
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm fantastic, Taku. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Fantastic. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Now, Taku, you know this conversation by the back of your hand, and it's something that we need to deal with every single day, because many of us just don't know the information, how to tackle a situation where my brother, my partner, my father is going through a drug addiction. Now, let's talk about communication first. Who is the one that is meant to be the standing ground to say, listen, I know that you have a problem? Or is it always the other way around, where someone approaches you to say, I've got a problem with ABC, I need help?
So normally, if, let's say, phone calls come in, right, it's normally family members who call first. And, one of the questions I'm asking them is saying to them, why isn't the person making the phone call? Why is it you? And usually, unfortunately for people going through this addiction, we're blindsided. It's almost like there's a denial section and there's a delusional section. So the denial is, I'm in denial of what my problem is. And time and again, you hear the whole sense of saying, until you can acknowledge it, then we can do something with it. So if someone hasn't gotten to that point where they can actually see and say, look, for the things that I want in my life, I see how my addiction is now, affecting them adversely, and I want to do something about it. And then the other side of that is the delusional side, which is, about the problem. So maybe I identify and say, okay, cool, I think, this is a problem, but then I'm delusional about how to fix it. So normally it's just willpower, If I just put enough energy and strength into this, I'll be able to fix it. I don't need anything else. I'll be okay. And once again, that's another blind side. So if you've ever seen like a fly trying to get out of a window,
Sure.
It's just willpower, just trying. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have the understanding to say, there's the window and this is, there's the gap.
Absolutely.
Once I get to the gap, I don't need to put so much willpower. It's actually just a smart thing rather than being a strong thing. So usually it's that situation where other people might be able to see it before we can see it.
Absolutely.
And also the idea of saying that I can do this by myself. It's one of those things, whether it's pride or whatever it is, it also just kind of hampers us in getting the appropriate help.
Absolutely. Now, Taku, as you know, we received a voice note where Anonymous was mentioning that she chose to leave the relationship because, hey, he has a recovery center. There's Crossroads Recovery Center. Let's do this. I'm ready. You're ready. And look, it's a mission. But then they decide, nah, I'm not going to go to rehab. But yet you're left with the decision to let go of love or to pursue assisting them. But clearly you being there is unnecessary, right? So with that being said, how do I and how would a co-worker, a parent, a family member know that they are dealing, no pun intended there, with a drug addict? What signs should I look out for with us being back to the seriousness of this conversation?
Right. I mean, there are various types of things. So it's the red eyes. It's the intuition that kicks in. It's the things that are going missing, and it's the little packets that are lying around that just don't make sense. It's literally the idea of saying, generally if you plant something and you cultivate it, it becomes fruitful. So somewhere along the line, you're seeing that the fruit isn't coming out. So then you kind of realize that something is going on with this person. And usually, it's acting out. So, a lot of the times, unfortunately, what happens is, we find this a lot with people when they come in, is the three things. It says, don't talk, don't trust, and don't feel. Okay. So for a lot of us, we've been hurt somewhere, and it's usually some kind of perception about someone maybe close to us. So we kind of figure out to say, oh, this world is not something to trust. People are not to be trusted, so I just keep things to myself. And then I got all these uncomfortable feelings that I'm dealing with, and I don't want to really deal with them. So the addiction presents itself as a solution to say,
Absolutely.
You've got these uncomfortable feelings, you can't trust people to be able to speak to them, all this kind of stuff like that. So it makes sense to then engage with the drugs. So it's a tough one, but I guess at some point in time, you'll be able to see that something's not right, and the person really is acting out.
Absolutely, Taku. Absolutely. Before we wrap up, right, Taku, because of time,
right.
Can a family or a friend register the person who is, using narcotics, an alcoholic? Can they register them, or would the drug addict have to do this themselves? How do I not seem forceful, but trying to create a solution for this person? Just to wrap up our conversation, Taku.
Cool. So obviously there's a spectrum, right? There's a spectrum of saying, like in my own situation, when it came down to it, eventually I made the phone call. I was ready. I wanted to get the help, and it happened. But it can come to the point where, said person doesn't want to see it. Everyone else can see it. And there is a situation where you can get them involuntarily committed, which now means you go through the court and you go through a magistrate, and you present the information to say, this is what's going on, possible danger to themselves and other people, and then the magistrate can then say, right, this person must now go get treatment, and if they leave the treatment, they're contravening a court order. So there can be those type of interventions that are available if it gets to that point that people can also utilize.
100%. Taku, thank you very much. We have received a voice note from Anonymous. I'd like to play this voice note before we wrap up for you, just so everyone can hear it as well as yourself. Take a listen. This is Anonymous responding to everything happening this morning.
Morning, Khutso. Morning, Crunches. I would still love to remain anonymous. Not because I'm ashamed of people hearing my story out. I'm not ashamed. I can stand there, say my name and talk about my story. But I must also remember this is not my story alone. Yes, I've been affected by what has been going on around me in terms of dating an addict. But like Ian Lavazat says, if it's not your story, it's not for you to tell. So that is why I want to remain anonymous, because I'm not sure how comfortable she is with this information being shared. But I needed to reach out. Anyway, I must say that listening to this voice note again, Khutso, oh, I can't believe I was so sad. Well, I mean, I was supposed to be sad, hey, but I can't believe that I feel a lot better today, you know. It's true when they say time heals. And also, I was doing a little bit of research, reading some stuff, and I was starting to feel guilty for not holding on longer, you know. But then someone said to me, no, you didn't go into that relationship to hold on and support and whatever. You went there to fulfill the next person as much as they're fulfilling you. So if they're not fulfilling you, then why do you have to stay? You don't owe that person that much of support. I know it's deep. It's deep. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't owe anybody your presence. If they can't go through this alone, then I'm sorry, but tough luck. You know, I offered my support. I was asked to help out, to find a rehab, to do this, and I did all of that, and only to be told that no, I'm not going there. I'd rather do 1, 2, and 3. So, I mean, that was just a big relief from my side to find out that, you know what, I do not owe this person my presence. Sure. You know, if we're meant to be together, go get clean, go get your help. And you know, Khutso, the sad part about addiction is that you'll always be a recovering addict, even 10 years from today. And that's what I'm scared of. I'm so scared of having to deal with the cycle for the rest of my life. Say we get married one day, you know, sure. I don't want that.
You know what, Taku, I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. And here is someone who is realizing that, hey, you know what? Tough luck. I tried my utmost best, but it is there for you. I've been there for you, but I'm done. Any closing statement from your side, Taku?
Yeah, you know, I think sometimes we have to just kind of separate selfish from self-love. Right. So the choice you made was self-love, you know, is to be able to get to a point where say, look, I can't change this for you. You know, if that's the choice or direction you want to go, and that's fine. But, you know, I think a very important thing is to understand what we should take responsibility for and what's not our responsibility. Absolutely. So I think for her, it sounds like she chose to then, you know, take the self-love portion of it. And I get her concerns about, you know, the sense of saying, you know, the cycles of it. But the cool thing is this, you know, I got married in 2019. One of my biggest fears was I'd never be able to get married. But the cool thing is, at least there is hope that if you do utilize the recovery process and you utilize a lot of the skills that are available that we can teach and we can incorporate, learn how to, you know, deal with our feelings differently, then those things even become possible for us. So, you know, it can happen, and, you know, I'm testimony of that. So.
Amen, Taku. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taku, for your time. Of course, this is the one and only Taku. He comes through with an open mind to have this discussion with you and I. Of course, doing great things at the Crossroad Recovery Center. Taku, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Khutso. Stay blessed. Thanks for your work, man.
Always. Cheers. We will post every single information to get in contact with Taku if you need any assistance, especially with the Crossroad Recovery Center that they hold. Maybe it might be that time. Thank you, Crunchers. Of course, it's time for your news.